Hello. It's been a long time. I've been dealing with long COVID. I don't want to go into that now, but I'll talk more at the end.
Ms. Heard had a jackhammer style of talking. She was very amped up.
That's the last insult. You're a baby.
Because you start physical fights?
You're such a baby!
Because
Grow
you,
the fuck up,
because you start physical fights?
He had trouble talking at a similar pace. Their dialogue, he was cut off a lot. So I'm guessing this is what I'm not sure what it is, but there was something. Anyhow, this is how he didn't have a voice.
This is what we heard in the videos I made in the recordings. He didn't have a voice because she wasn't interested to hear him. She had an agenda. There was a reason why this wasn't supposed to be a two-way conversation.
But I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you.
You can't
I don't know
deck
what
me.
the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
Is it your testimony that while Mr. Depp may have said he wasn't violent with any of his other partners, there was violence from Mr. Depp toward Amber, correct?
Yes, you're right.
She's only going off what Amber Heard had told her. Johnny Depp wasn't involved in these discussions, according to her.
When Ms. Heard told you that Johnny Depp hits her or slaps her, Johnny Depp was not present, correct?
Correct. He had been well controlled, I think, for almost, 20, 30 years. And both were victims of abuse in their homes. But I thought he had been well controlled for decades. And then with Ms. Heard, he was triggered, and they engaged in what I saw as mutual abuse.
Again, the therapist is just going off Amber Heard's word for this. She doesn't know from Johnny Depp what happened. As far as she reports, she hasn't spoken to him about it. So it's curious that she just takes her word for it.
Sometimes I know she led on more than one occasion and started it to keep him with her, because abandonment and having him leave was her worst nightmare. And
again, we see these same motives play out as the ones in the recordings that I looked at in my other videos on this topic. So she abuses him in order to keep him there. She doesn't want him to run away. Now, if he was physically abusing her, and if she was this victim of domestic violence that she has painted herself as being, then would she be the one who instigated the physical abuse? Or would she be too scared of him, of how that's going to make him worse, if he's already hitting her and generally being violent towards her? So my understanding of this is that either she wasn't afraid of him hitting her back, or she was more afraid of him leaving her than of her being physically abused by him. And that could be because he doesn't abuse her and he hasn't abused her physically, or it could be because the pain of him leaving is worse than the pain of her being hit. And I think that judging by her personality, we've looked in previous videos at traits she seems to have of borderline personality disorder. It does seem that actually either are possible. But of course, if he hasn't been physically abusing her, then we don't have any fear. It's all about her keeping him there, and there's no reason for her to be afraid of anything.
And I think he may have initiated it on occasions too. I'm less sure on.
So the therapist is saying she's unsure of whether Johnny Depp ever initiated the abuse. So I think that's really important, because the therapist on this topic is only hearing from Amber Heard. So it seems that at that time, Amber Heard wasn't even saying that Johnny Depp initiated the abuse. And who initiated it matters, because there's a difference between somebody initiating abuse and somebody being abusive in defense of themselves or in reaction to the trauma of being abused.
And how did you come to the understanding that on some occasions Ms. Heard physically abused Mr. Depp?
Miss Heard reported that.
Again, Amber Heard has admitted to the therapist she physically abused Johnny Depp. This is something that Johnny Depp never says he did to Amber Heard to the therapist, according to the therapist, or in front of the therapist. Yet Amber Heard is admitting it.
What did Miss Heard report to you?
That it was a point of pride, two things. It was a point of pride to her if she felt disrespected to initiate a fight.
It was a point of pride to her to initiate a fight. So what else was a point of pride for Amber Heard? And what else continues to be a point of pride if that's the kind of person she is? It seems that it's very important for her ego to be untouched. Could she have exaggerated what was actually self-defense by Johnny Depp and suggested it was him being really violent towards her? Would that have helped her with her pride? Well, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because wouldn't it damage her pride to say, yeah, I'm just this really abusive person. I do this to poor Johnny and he doesn't deserve it and he never hits me back. That's not going to keep her pride in place. So if she's the kind of person who will initiate a fight rather than have someone leave for the sake of her pride and protecting it, then she must be capable of doing a lot of other things that cross other people's boundaries for the sake of trying to preserve her pride.
The second one is what she reported to me, which is if he was going to leave her to de-escalate from the fight, she would strike him to keep him there. She would rather be in a fight than have him leave. And he tried to de-escalate far more than I think she did.
So you can see they have different motives. He wants to de-escalate. She doesn't. She's physically abusive towards him because he's trying to get away. He's trying to escape her. And we don't see any evidence in any of those recordings or in any of those statements by people of him being abusive to her. Fear of someone leaving, that can be borderline personality disorder, but this pride business, the idea of it being not just losing someone and losing this sense of self when someone leaves, but feeling really angry about it because it's not just rejection, but disrespect. That's another thing. Pride, ego, the importance of being seen as perfect. She can't tolerate Johnny Depp seeing her as imperfect, not having enough respect for behaviour that might not actually warrant respect. She wants to have power over him. She wants to force him through violence to stay there so that she can abuse him to feel better about herself. I've looked at narcissistic personality disorder and some of the traits that Amber Heard seems to have, some examples where we see those traits coming through. And all of this sounds like the same thing. I'm going to carry on talking about this in the next video, which I'm going to try and put out tomorrow. Before I upload this video, I want to thank you so much, anyone who wrote a comment under a video recently, and to those of you who have emailed me. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much, that's the cat's toy. That was quite distracting, but okay. It was just really nice to know that I was still remembered, because I was worried that this was channel suicide, not posting for so long. So I really thought, oh wow, I'm probably going to get like 5 views next time I put a video up, or I was worried that was what was going to happen, because I've seen other channels, I've seen another channel that hadn't posted in 2 months, and I assumed that the person had decided to stop putting videos up. It didn't occur to me that they were going to come back. So I'm sure a lot of people probably thought that I wouldn't, and maybe they've just gone now and they'll never know, because I don't know how the algorithm works, if they'll even see my videos anymore. But anyway, I really appreciate that you said stuff, even though you knew that I might not respond for a while or even at all. I have really wanted to upload videos for a long time, and I just keep thinking that I can, you know, I just keep thinking, right, tomorrow, because it's really hard to accept not having the energy, you know. I kind of think, well, I'm sure after a good night's sleep I'll be much better, so I'll do it tomorrow. And then months later it's kind of like, okay, maybe this is just not realistic anymore then. Maybe I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow. And so eventually I took a week off work in order to get videos out again. So I am doing better than I was, you know, so that's good. It's just taking a long time to get back to normal again. So please bear with me if there are delays between videos. They will keep coming as often as I can put them up. And I'm going to try and get a few more out now, you know, so that there's not this long delay. I'm going to leave you with a pair of siblings who at the moment are very quiet because they've recently had their injections just yesterday evening. So they're recovering from those, but they're usually full of beans. Hello. Oh, hello. Funny things. They did this after destroying a plant. You can see the mud on the carpet.